MCC Island is now in open beta, and here's my take on what's good, bad, and what needs to happen. Now, before we start, I want you to know that this is my opinion, so if you disagree, just comment down what you think needs to be done, and don't take it as personal attack. Please, just calm down. If you don't know, MCC Island is a public minigame server set on a tropical island based on Minecraft Championship, which is a private YouTube competition with many of the big names of YouTube like Dream, TommyInnit, Technoblade, Grian, and many others taking part of it. This server currently only has 5 games, but there's many more on the way. They are currently Sky Battle, Battle Box, To Get to the Other Side, Home the Wall, and the newly added Parkour Warrior. Now, let's get started. First off is the new kid on the block, Parkour Warrior. Although the competitive version of this event is not yet released, the casual maps are really fun, challenging, and creative compared to other kinds of parkour. Also, the courses are updated monthly, means that you get new parkour maps that you can try and make. Yes, you heard me right, make. Some of these are actually community made, so you can submit your own maps using the link in the description so that you can show 1,000 people the most creative way to break someone's fingers. Also, I like the ninja extent of this. It's like you are jumping through the map as if you were a ninja, which is really on brand since Parkour Warrior is inspired by Ninja Warrior. And like the actual competition, this is one of the more harder types of parkour compared to bedrock parkour, hypixel parkour, and skeppy parkour. Although I initially thought that this Parkour Warrior's general difficulty would scare away players from trying it, that's not really an issue. First, because competition is literally just Parkour Spiral 2. No, the real problem is literally next door to the JoJo. Parkour Warrior Survivor. Let me explain. Considering most games in MCCI can only be accessed by ATM machines, this would automatically be what people move on to and what new players would think as Parkour Warrior. But the problem is, what would it look like? Obviously this is just speculation since there's no information on what this game actually is. So let's just ignore that and move on to some things that are actually in the game. Minor problem here is repetitive obstacles. Some of the courses feature mirror versions of the previous parkour. This implies that there aren't as many parkour courses that Noxru can come up, or they're just lazy. Obviously this isn't true, just look at the OG Parkour Warrior, they have much more options there. So for Noxru, you can have just one guy create more courses, or just use the community submission, I guess. Now this is pretty minor compared to how good Survivor should be, but if they have the time, just do it, I guess. Based on another game show with the same name, this actually is the least popular game in MCCI, so let's see what happens to this slime factory. MCCI's Hole in the Wall, compared to its show counterpart, is a really interesting survival game. You force sides on where the walls go with side walls and returning walls, and many traps and items. This is a really good game on paper. In reality...
And there's slimes! What?!
Some of the traps might be a bit too unfair for the player. Unlike the OG Hole in the Wall from MCC, it's all basically just RNG at this point. You can get slowness 3 while getting the hardest wall human possible. Not to mention slimes.
Look at these things! They kill so many innocent people!
Not to mention how laggy the game is itself. The problem is mostly the traps themselves. A unique spin on Hole in the Wall that just makes people not want to play it anymore. So, what should be in its place? Now, obviously this is my opinion, so if you have any better ideas, just comment. First are the gimmicks that will remain. We will have Blast Off, Chicken Tornado, Fishing Rod, Hot Coals, Jack Frost, Levitation Dart, One Punch, Sandfall, Snowball Fight, Spring Shoes, and Super Speed. Why these specifically? Because they fall into 3 categories. The first are harmless empties. These are mainly just distractions that don't affect gameplay that much. The second are beneficial items. This is something that the players can use so that the environment has a lot less RNG. Third are positive buffs, things like speed, jump boost, anything that can help the player. These categories can be used as frameworks for other items that you can add, things like tipped arrows, or even the grenades from other PvP sections. Now, I understand that some of the mob tricks aren't as bad as slimes, but I think the better way to implement mobs in the game is to make them spawn next that players can use for, let's say, 10 seconds. Also, please make it less laggy. Please. Out of the 4 original games, this is actually the most loyal to its MCC counterpart. Sure, there are modifiers, but they usually just come up every 1 or 2 games, and most of the maps are actually in MCC. This is just a really good game mode, except for one thing: punches. There is a problem that toxic players just keeps on punching players for the heck of it. Although the karma system is a really effective way to fix the problem, there's one side that it actually makes worse: sumo matches. You see, if one side is winning, the loser will just take less knockback and the winner will take more, and if the loser manages to get a lucky hit, the cycle repeats. So I propose a workaround for this: punch attack speed. Just by making punches as fast as a sword, or even an axe, would probably make them more strategic to use, since you can't just throw as many fists as you can, and will make sumo wrestling and even finish line trolling impossible. Although the changes might make Talk Toss a much more fair game, this will make it pretty middle of the road compared to much of the heavy hitters, because PvP is a lot more popular. But hey, at least it will be a hidden gem. Unless... add Terrace Swoop for Doctor and I swear this will be amazing! Ah yes, the most iconic game of MCC Island. Basically 1.19 Skywars, this game is really addicting. First off, being a battle royale game makes it really popular on its own, and combined with its extremely massive PvP community, that's just a winning formula. For gameplay itself, I gotta say that most of the weapons are pretty balanced. The bow and ranged combat in general is a lot more competitive in MCC Island. Some would say even broken or too OP, but it's not like half your health would go away in one shot. That'll be stupid. As good as the game is right now, there's one major problem in some specific maps: skybasing. You see, in some maps, there is no actual upwards border, or even a downwards border, making a skybase really easy to do with no downside, since it's basically hard to siege and literally impossible if they have lava. So be sure you prepared healing items in that time to outlast the border, or even the timer. Also, in my opinion, I don't think that the new open beta maps are as good as the closed beta maps, but I think that's just me. The game is pretty great and could probably be the new Bed Wars, but it's not like it's gonna happen right now. Oh, you want a solution? Just add vertical borders. Ah yes, the other popular game. No, not you, Wool Wars. Although not as popular as Sky Battle, BattleBox is still the second most popular game in MCCI. I think. Now the game showed their actual numbers. What makes BattleBox interesting is that the health regeneration is really slow, making healing items very important and strategic use of them a lifesaver. Also, this game owns a lot more custom items than Sky Battle. Things like invisibility, speed, jump boost, blindness, etc. are effects that you would encounter on the way and would make strategies a lot more interesting. But like all things, there are flaws. And in BattleBox's case, pretty big ones. If you thought Sky Battle used too much bows, well, you haven't seen BattleBox. The best weapon in the game is a quick charge 2 crossbow. Why? Because it literally depletes half your health in one shot. So if your team goes against a pretty decent sharpshooter, chances are they might 1 before you. During the standard loadout in Haunted House as a quick charge 2 crossbow, it gets pretty insane. Now, there are many routes that can be taken in nerfing the crossbow, to having no enchantments, buffing the swords to have sharpness 2 or 3, or adding projectile projection 1 or 2 on the boots. There can be many ways to make this game more balanced. So, what do I think of MCCI in general? Generally, this is a really satisfying server. Most of the minigames are really unique, and although there are some issues with some of these games, some minor, some major, most of these are pretty fun to play and not all are iconic in their own right. And don't forget about all the other MCC games that might be released, like Meltdown, Parkour Tag, Rocket Split Rush, Ace Race, Grid Runner, Sense of Time, as well as the OG survival games and build mode. Once MCC will officially be released, I will review every single game. And in conclusion, MCCI has a lot of potential and I'm really optimistic about the server's future. So, what do you think the future of the server is? Like and subscribe for more content.